Coming in hot, baby. This is going to be a good one today. World Series time is upon us, and I cannot think of a better guest to have than my dear friend Dan Shulman, who is doing the games out there, which is a very unique thing out there for Sportsnet with Toronto. Danny, how you doing, man? It's great to have you on, brother, in the mayor's office.
It's great to see you, Mayor. Sean, great to see you. And yeah, we're having the time of our lives. As you said, we're different than the U.S. We're still doing our games, our broadcasts locally on Sportsnet, or nationally, I shouldn't say locally, nationally on Sportsnet. Like if you, like the Dodgers aren't getting the games on their local channel, they're getting Fox, obviously, just like the Mariners and the Tigers and the Guardians and everything. But we're in a different boat because we're outside the U.S., so Fox is the domestic partner of MLB, and we're one of their international partners. So it's business as usual up here, except we're getting millions and millions of. We had 6 million people watching the seventh game of the ALCS up here in Canada, and obviously Canada's got a much smaller population than the U.S. But this is a team that has fans from coast to coast, and this is really fun stuff. I'm not going to lie.
Dude, is that exciting for you? Obviously, you're with Buck Martinez too, right? You and Buck are doing the call. Is this exciting for you, bro? I mean, it's the World Series. It's a unique situation where you are going to be the voice for all those fans in Canada. You know, is that cool for you? For all the things all the great things you've done, Danny, in your career, is this probably one of the best?
No question. I mean, as you know, because we used to see each other a lot during Octobers, I was lucky enough. I did 12 World Series for ESPN Radio. Awesome. Couldn't be better. But I'm from Toronto, born and raised here. Like young Danny was going to Blue Jays games, and so to do this job in your hometown and to be able to do the World Series and I've had a lot of friends, buddies who are play-by-play guys for other teams, and it's a combination of like, man, am I envious, and man, am I happy for you? Because again, if it's the Cubs or the Phillies or the Astros, their local TV guys don't get to do this, right? And so. I'm beyond lucky to wake up in my own bed, drive down to the ballpark, take the elevator I take every day up to the booth, and set up my stuff like I do. And you know what it is, Sean? It's this team matters to a lot of people. At this point in my life, whether it's doing college basketball for ESPN or doing baseball, I just want to do games that matter to people. And these games really, really matter to a lot of people, including everybody that I know basically up here, because everybody is a Blue Jays fan. So this is super fun.
Dude, that must be something, man. Being raised there, being the play-by-play, being able to lock in, is absolutely amazing. You've had some great moments, dude. You've had such an incredible career. Your voice. Whenever you're on, people are locked in. We know it's you. You're so good at your job. But was that moment for you one of the greatest moments ever when George Springer hit that homer in Game 7?
Oh, well, thank you, Case, for the kind words. I really appreciate it. And the easy answer is yes, of course. It's funny going into the postseason. I mean, this is it's a fun team. It's a team that I think has overachieved a little bit, and the whole is greater than the sum of the parts and that sort of thing. So they lose the first 2 games at home. They're down 2-0 in the series. They go out and take 3 and 4. Then they have that crushing loss in Game 5. Now they got to do it again. They win Game 6, but now they're trailing in Game 7. And it was in the ballpark. So the first few innings, it was bananas here because it's a great, great scene here when they're good. But 5th inning, 6th inning, Raleigh hits a homer for an add-on run. Now it's 3-1 Seattle, and it's tense. Like, it's quiet and tense, almost as if the fans have said, well, it's been a phenomenal year, but I guess it's just not meant to be. And then the thing that happened to this team. It always seems to start with the bottom of the order. Like, it's just something. A guy gets on. Addison Barger, the number 7 hitter, walks. Now Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. And how many people would have thought that a guy like Isaiah Kiner-Falefa would be starting game after game and getting meaningful at-bats now? But he is, and he's had a lot of big hits. But then Wu gets out in front of him 0-2, and then he gets a base hit to center on a 2-strike pitch. And now it's like Buck and I are looking at each other like, this is Blue Jays baseball, man. The bottom of the order sets the table, and the top of the order, gets the big blow. Jimenez bunts him over. They go to the bullpen. So I'll tell you a funny story. They go to the bullpen Second and third, one out, and I on talkback, which I push the button to talk to the truck, and I say to the truck, boys, this is the whole season. Munoz isn't in yet. That like it's live or die, make or break right now. And our director is a good friend of mine, Troy Clara, yells at me, "Say that on the air! Don't just say it to me." So I come right out of break, and thank God he did. Right? I mean, he got a better mind than I do. So I come out of break and I say to Buck, Buck, this could be their whole season. Munoz is still in the bullpen. He's not in the game. It's Springer, Lucas, Vladdy. It's top of the order. This could be it. And two pitches, and I'm not saying I predicted it. I didn't know what was going to happen. But 2 pitches later, he hits the home run. And it's, this franchise has been around 49 years. And I think you can say this is the second biggest home run that has ever been hit by this team. They had a couple other huge ones in their 2 World Series other than the Joe Carter one. But I think you could say that the Springer one might be the second biggest hit this franchise has ever had.
What was it like? I mean, take us back to what was the feeling like there in the Rogers Center when that ball went out?
And
did little Danny come out too? Did little Danny come out?
No, well, maybe a little bit of little Danny come out. So you know what they're doing too? They didn't do it. I don't think they did for this one. They did it for the last out of the game. But they've got a little camera on us in the booth. And then the next day on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and whatever, now they're putting side by side the play and us in the booth. And you can see me or whatever I'm doing. So it's exciting stuff, right? And if somebody said to me, "Why'd you get into the business?" The first answer is, well, I loved sports and I didn't know what else to do. Like all of us who got into the business. And you want to cover exciting moments. And again, this was an unbelievably exciting moment, and it mattered to everybody that I know. Born in Canada, raised in Canada, right here. And yeah, it was something else. I don't think I stood up. But I know I'm pushing my chair and my arms or for whatever I'm doing while I'm doing it. You get caught up in the moment. And so my call was pretty short, actually. It was nothing special. The last couple of words are "she's gone" or something like that. And then I didn't say anything for 15 seconds. And Troy, our director, again, you see George rounding the bases and you see the fans going nuts and you see the dugout exploding. And when that kind of a moment happens in a home ballpark, I strongly believe the best thing a play-by-play announcer can do is nothing, right? If it happens in a few days at Dodger Stadium, it's different because you do it on the road. You don't have that scene, obviously. But when you have that scene, there's nothing I could do to make that better. So it was something. I think I was just kind of looking around and soaking it in. It was bedlam, and it's one of the biggest moments in my career in terms of silence to bedlam, just in a heartbeat, and it was really cool.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that, man. I think that's such a great thing to letting that moment breathe, because on your call you could feel when you laid out there the emotion. You could just feel the emotion in the Rogers Center was incredible. So that's just such a great moment, man. Looking forward to Game 1. How's Bo Bichette doing? What reports do you have? What's it looking like as far as how is he going to get in the lineup? Do you think does Springer go to the outfield? Does Bo DH? What is it looking like?
Isn't this fascinating? To have this kind of a conversation, and isn't it let's take a step back for a moment. Isn't it amazing they're playing in the World Series and they've done this without Bo Bichette? It really
yes,
is because he's their RBI guy. I mean, it's hard to kind of separate Bichette and Springer and Guerrero. They're all studs offensively, right? They're all dudes. So, but the fact that they've been able to do this without Bo Bichette is so impressive to me. So, you and I are talking on Wednesday. Tuesday was a closed day for them. Today's a closed day for them. Our first chance to go down is tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to know anything. If he ran the bases yesterday, that would be the first time. To our knowledge, he had not run the bases before the end of the ALCS. So it's tricky. I don't think he's going to play shortstop. I don't even think that's on the table. If he's back, let's say he's good enough to be a DH, to be the DH on a daily basis, then you got to put George Springer in the outfield. And George can obviously play the outfield, but he's mostly been a DH this year. And he's got a sore knee right now. Although I'm guessing, and I can't imagine how much it hurt in the moment. I'm sure you can. You've probably been hit on the kneecap a few times. But so if you put George in the outfield, he'll be fine. So then your outfield would be Varsho, Lucas, and Springer. Addison Barger, who's a sneaky big part of this because he can play right field and third base. And you've seen enough games to know John Schneider is making moves defense left, right, and center, right? Barger would come into third. Ernie Clement would go to second, and probably Isaiah Kiner-Falefa now is on the bench. That's my guess. That's if he's a DH. Different, though, in game one because Blake Snell would be on the mound. So Lucas wouldn't play. Davis Schneider might be in there. They do some different things. But if Bo can't DH, maybe he's just a pinch hitter. And if he and that's great. If Bo Bichette's bat is game ready, he's on the roster in my mind. Like there's not even a discussion about that. But if you have to take him out for a pinch runner, like if you save him for that one big moment every game and you have to take him out for a pinch runner, now that shortens your bench. That's two guys. Now you're going pinch hitter, pinch runner, and maybe defensive replacement depending on who he's pinch hitting for. It's tricky. It's a bit complicated. They could go 14 and 12, keep an extra position player, not have as many pitchers if they just need a pinch runner just for Bo. That gets complicated. But again, I think if his bat is game ready, he's on the lineup, and you figure it out on the fly.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think we forget about if you go back and look at this team. I believe. I mean, you've watched it every day, Danny, but I am a big Bo Bichette fan. If you look at this, I don't think they're here without Bo Bichette. I really don't. I don't think they, because the big hits that he had all year long, he's an RBI machine. This guy's an unbelievable hitter. He's a line-to-line guy. He hits good pitching. So, I think if he can play, you got to get that bat in the lineup, and you probably want to get it in the lineup more than just a bat off the bench, I would think, if they could do it, What about the roster construction? I know Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins have taken their arrows in some of these years since 2016, but I just look at that organization. I feel like it's gone to another level. I feel like the culture there is incredible. I feel like the players that they bring in are real players. They're real dudes that are there for each other, and I know that that's intentional. Can you talk about the roster construction and the vibe in that organization right now and just in Toronto?
Yeah, and I don't think they always got it right. I mean, I think they learned from some of their mistakes in their earlier years when they took over. But this year, there's no question that the secret sauce of this team is a couple of things. One is the complementary players fit the roster beautifully. The pieces of the puzzle fit. They didn't used to fit all that well. They had too much of this, not enough of that sort of thing. But now they're more balanced righty and lefty. They've got tremendous versatility defensively. And it starts with Addison Barger and Ernie Clement. Those are the two guys who really allow them to move guys around. So the complementary players, all of them, Barger and Schneider and Lucas and Clement and Straw and Heineman, they've all had great years. Every single one of them has had a great year. And how often do you ever say that about everybody on a roster? And I know we're focusing on the position player side more than the pitching, but it applies to pitching as well. But I also think they brought in some great people. And Buck and I have said on the air 100 times, and I know some people roll their eyes at this stuff, but there's not a bad guy in that room. There really isn't. And this is the closest bunch that I have ever seen in baseball, and the easiest from a media point of view to deal with. Like, they're all just really good guys. And George Springer values Miles Straw, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. values Braden Fisher, and Bo Bichette values Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Like, they all mean something to each other, and they all recognize how important any of them can be, and they all trust each other. Like, if IKF or Miles Straw come up in a big spot, everybody believes they're going to do well. If Mason Fluharty comes in a big spot, everybody's got his back, win, lose, or draw. So I think that's been a huge part of their success this year.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt, man. It's been a fun team to watch, and you could see that closeness that they have. Tell us about Vlad, man. Watching from the outside, it looks like he's kind of gone to another level in the leadership role. It seems like he's really settled in. I love the interviews after the game. He's has that confidence to speak English in his interviews, which I think is incredible. Tell us about Vlad, man. What you've seen over the years. Do you see a new leader this year, or and just obviously what kind of player is he day in and day out?
Yeah, I do see a lot of growth in him. Well, let's start as a player. I think a lot of people in the U.S. probably before the playoffs thought he was a big lumbering slugger, and he is not a big lumbering slugger. He is a tremendous hitter who has power. You know what I mean between slugger and hitter. He's a tremendous hitter who has power. Only hit 23 homers, mind you, during the season, and had his ups and downs. But now we're seeing the best of Vlad. He is also a plus first baseman. I don't know if people know he won the Gold Glove in 2022, and he's a finalist this year, and he deserves it. He's a plus defensive first baseman, and God, does he love running the bases. I mean, he loves running the bases, trying to score from second on a single or first on a double or something like that. He's a great player. I think he has grown in so many ways, and I don't know if this happens this quickly, Case, without the contract. He signs the contract at the beginning of the year. Imagine for a moment if he's heading into free agency right now, and this is happening in October, and what a story that would be. But I think when he signed the contract, obviously then he can put it out of his mind. He's set for life. But also I think he fully really understands how important he is and that he is the face of the franchise. And that's no knock against Springer or Bichette or Gosman or any of the other guys. But Vladdy is the face of the franchise. His interviews have changed. He's still fun-loving and playful. He's like you. I mean, he's the life of the party. But unlike you, he's grown up. He's matured a little bit over the years. But his answers are very thoughtful and deeper now. Like, we're doing this for you, Canada. We love you, fans, and that sort of stuff. He signs more autographs, and I'm not talking about the playoffs, but because everything's kind of locked down a little bit more. But regular season games, 20 minutes before first pitch, you know how a couple of guys will stay out and find some kids down the line. Guerrero and Clement are the two leaders that I see on this team. Vladdy understands how important he is, and I think he's got more of a voice in the room. He's worked hard. He's in really good shape. He's running better. And I just think he's had an amazing October in so many different ways. And he's got that smile that lights up a room. I mean, he smiles during an interview, and if there were an election, every single Canadian would vote for him in that moment.
He exuberates passion. And I love the one interview, I think it was with Hazel May after the game, and was it Game 6 when he was out there on the field and he started to talk about the fans, and the place was it felt like the place was rumbling. The place was rumbling because they love that guy, and you should love him. I've gotten to know Vladdy over the years too, and obviously his dad was a great guy too. But just to see his exuberance for the game and how much he loves Toronto, and I think the different thing, Danny, is you guys are really playing for a country. It feels like Canada. Yeah. It's Canada's team. Is that what it feels like up there in Toronto? That like it's not just you guys. It's all the way down to Vancouver.
Right. I can't put into words how big of a deal that is up here. And I know it's kind of hard to relate to if you're American because there are 29 teams there. There's only one here. The analogy I would make is like the Olympics and it's USA basketball or USA hockey or the World Cup and the US soccer team is playing. If you're interested in the sport and you're in the US, you're behind the US. If you're interested in baseball and you're in Canada, unless, with rare exceptions, you're a Blue Jays fan. Are there people in Vancouver who like the Mariners? Sure. Are there people whose grandfather was a huge Red Sox fan, so they like the Red Sox? Sure. But, it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. We're still doing our broadcasts up here, and we averaged 6 million viewers for Game 7 of the ALCS, and it was over 8 million at the moment Jeff Hoffman got the last strikeout. It didn't happen in the playoffs for obvious reasons, but when the Blue Jays go to Seattle during the regular season, there are 25, 30,000 Blue Jays fans there. It's a home game. And we see it a lot in Minneapolis, in Cleveland, in Detroit, all of the cities that are close to the Canadian border. It's just different than anywhere else. They have watch parties in cities all across Canada. Every bar is full up. It's just unique. It's special. It really, really is. And Buck and Hazel and I feel it, and we're grateful for it. And the players feel it as well. the first year Blue Jays, like when Kevin Gausman signed his deal, and Kevin's been around a long time, but he's in his fourth year now with the Blue Jays. But that first year when the Blue Jays went to Detroit or Minneapolis or Seattle, he was blown away by how many fans. And now Kevin Gausman, it tells Chris Bassett about it. And then Chris Bassett tells whatever player comes in the next year about it. They all know about it in advance. And all the players are extremely appreciative of it. And that's why just as often as you hear, I love you, Toronto, or Toronto, this is for you, even more often than that, you'll hear Canada instead of Toronto.
How does it set up, Danny? How are the, I think when you look at the Dodgers right now, you see that rotation of Yamamoto and Snell and Ohtani and Glasnow, and the Brewers ran into a buzzsaw. I mean, these guys were pretty much lights out. How did the Blue Jays beat the Dodgers? What's the recipe? What are they going to have to do to win this thing?
So back in the Blue Jay-Yankee series, in the division series, Aaron Boone said the superpower of the Blue Jays is their ability to make contact. And I know that's something you would appreciate from the kind of hitter that you were. You'd have fit in beautifully. You'd have loved being on this team, man. You'd have really loved it. So, and Booney is right. Their superpower is making contact. They make more contact and strike out less often than any team in baseball. And they're doing it even better in the postseason than they did it in the regular season. There were so many games this year against a Fried or a Rodon or a Robbie Ray or a Joe Ryan or, great pitchers where he'd be out of the game 5 innings because he threw 102 pitches. And they might have scored 2, they might have scored 4, but they wear down pitchers when they're at their best. Now, can you do this against Snell and Glasnow and Ohtani and Yamamoto? I don't know. They're great. All 4 of them are great. The Blue Jays do have experience against Snell and Glasnow from their days with Tampa, so maybe that helps them a little bit. But I think the ingredient in the recipe, as you were saying, can they wear down the starting pitchers and get them out, let's call it in 5 innings or thereabouts, and get into the middle relief of the Dodgers? And I'm not saying they would be guaranteed to have success, but that's where you're more likely to probably have success than against the 4 starters or the top end, back end relievers. If you see a game start and George Springer has a 9-pitch at bat and then Nathan Lucas has an 11-pitch at bat, and it could be a hit and a walk, or it could be one of them makes an out or something like that. But if you see Springer and Lucas having long at bats, and now the pitcher's thrown 16, 18, 20 pitches, the first time he sees Vladdy, that's a pretty good omen.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And it's true, man. When you watch this Blue Jays team, they put together some great at bats. I mean, I love it. You're right. I love it because I used to hate striking out. And
again, I don't know if people roll their eyes at this stuff, but there's so many feel-good stories going on around this team. I don't know if they're going to win the World Series, but even if they don't, it's been a special season on all levels. And again, I don't know if they're going to win or lose, but they're going to give it their best shot, and they're going to be a tough, resilient bunch in this series.
No doubt about it, man. Danny, I know how many podcasts you got today, or how many interviews do you have today?
You're number 3 of 5 obligations, but I'd always make time for you, Case. You know that. So yeah.
You're the best, dude. I appreciate you so much, man. All these years, man, and I love listening to you when you're on. And I'm sure Toronto and Canada is so excited for Game 1 with you and Buck having the call out there. But good luck to the Blue Jays, dude. Good luck to you guys. Hopefully, you can have another epic call like you had on Springer in Game 7, and it's going to be a great World Series, man.
That would be fun. Always great to talk to you, Case. See you soon.
All right, Danny, you're the best, man. Thanks so much, man, for your time.